How do I advance this? Yeah. Well, I'm Jerry Peckumn, Chair of Iowa River Revival. I farm in Greene County in the Raccoon River watershed, and I have a lot of interest in Iowa rivers. Iowa River Revival was founded in 2007 as an Iowa nonprofit to promote Iowa's rivers. Our mission is to help Iowans restore, protect, and enjoy rivers. We act as a voice for Iowa's rivers and have had a number of activities to promote rivers and draw attention to them. One thing we do is we do a river town city award once a year for cities that make the best use of their rivers for economic reasons, for cultural reasons. We have a Master River Stewards program, which is patterned after the Master Conservationist or Master Gardeners program. It's been very popular with people. They learn about rivers, they learn about the ecology of rivers, they learn about using rivers for recreation. We have a River Rascals program that we instituted. We bring in, we reach out to children that live in the city that may be underprivileged and give them a chance to experience nature, experience a river, learn about a river, and how to canoe. We have Rivers Rocks events. That's where we partner with the local community and have a paddle down the river and then celebrate it afterwards with music and fellowship. And we've had a number of educational seminars and conferences that we've put on over the years to draw attention to Iowa's rivers. And we also work on good river policy for Iowa. We advocate for rivers, and we try to monitor what's going on in our government. Why restore Iowa's rivers? Well, we can help meet the nutrients reduction goals, and I might draw your attention to a handout that I didn't have the slides in this presentation, but it's very recent work from Arkansas that shows that supports some other scientific work that river restoration or rivers can reduce the amount of nutrients through several different ways. In this one section, in the White River Stream Bank project prevented a loss of 3,600 tons of sediment a year, which also included 3,500 pounds of phosphorus and 6,500 pounds of nitrogen. That's just a rather small segment of the river that was restored, and shows that there's some potential to help Iowa, not to stop the problem, but to help us meet our standard. And as I farm, I know that as a farmer, it's very difficult for me to raise corn and soybeans and stop all the nutrients from getting in the river. I can probably do a better job than I'm doing, but we have to use all the tools available that we have if we want to meet our nutrient standards. We can address landowner concern for eroding banks and riverbeds. You know, I have that problem in my pasture. If I need to do something, or I'm going to have the road that goes through my pasture undermined. We can address county and DOT concern for eroding bridge abutments and road beds. We've talked a lot about the Hungry Canyon area, but the entire state has those issues. And we can reduce flooding and mitigate flooding effects through river restoration. We can slow the river in cases. There are places where we could allow remeandering to occur in Iowa where there aren't. You know, some places we can't. But there are methods that we could use to mitigate flood and reduce flooding. And as you heard earlier, we can provide better fish and aquatic life habitat. You know, I think about my grandfather in the 1920s going down to the river and catching enough catfish to fill a barrel for the winter. They would catch catfish and freeze them and put them in a barrel on the north side of their house. And he could do that in a couple of days. You can't do that. I can't do that. Maybe he was a better fisherman. And he talks, you know, my grandfather talked about in the 20s and 30s, there were so many ducks flying over the Middle Raccoon River that it looked like storm clouds at times. And we can have that, but it takes investment in natural resources. And we can improve economic development through quality of life issues. People, you know, sometimes it's even our own children that we like to attract back to Iowa. But we need to attract people to Iowa. It takes nice natural resources to do so. Other states have excellent natural resource programs, and we have to compete. We should compete, should want to compete. How does river restoration work? The complexity of rivers requires a sound restoration plan. We've talked about that a lot. Projects can be designed to serve a variety of goals for the landowner or the community. The most successful projects draw on a number of sources, including engineering and hydrology, landscape ecology, fisheries and plant science, and involve communities, policymakers, and landowners. River restoration can include such practices as riverbank and riverbed stabilization, reshaping riverbanks, modifying old and unused dams, improve habitat, and assessing the potential for river restoration and the best course of action of how a stream can be restored. We can turn stretches of streams that look like this, and this is a really good example of sediment going into the river, and that sediment holds nitrogen and it holds phosphorus. So when we can stabilize these banks, we're holding not only sediment, which is a problem for wildlife, but we are holding nitrogen and phosphorus. So it is part of a nutrient reduction potential. But we can turn that cut bank that was cutting into the cornfield into a bank that looks like this. We can take a stream that's been straightened and the channel basically dug out and re-slope the sides, and we have habitat for all kinds of critters, pheasants, deer, fur-bearing animals, and we have greatly improved habitat in the stream. These streams act as a nursery. We have to have the small fish that are in these streams to have the larger fish in the big rivers. Charles City has modified their dam. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but they embraced the river. They built parks along the river. They put in a whitewater park that has drawn people from all over the country, maybe outside of the country, I don't know. And it's had a positive impact on the local businesses. Watershed restoration balances, watershed improvement plans. I wanted to put this in here. I have had a lot of questions about how is this different from watershed work. And watershed work is really, really important. Watershed improvement plans help keep the soil, nutrients, and other pollutants on the land, providing cleaner water for the rivers. River restoration helps keep soil and nutrients in the riverbanks and riverbed and provides improved habitat for a healthy river, improving fish and wildlife populations. River restoration should be a significant consideration of most watershed plans. We have a vision for river restoration in Iowa. A river restoration program for Iowa should provide a framework for targeted restoration, preservation, enhancement, and beneficial use of Iowa's rivers. Elements of a river restoration program would include partnerships among public agencies, landowners, river users, and the public. Establish statewide criteria and regional targeting for meaningful river and stream restoration priorities. What we're saying is, we know we don't have enough money to restore every stream and every river for a long time, but we should put our money that we do have in the best possible place we can. We're spending money on stream restoration in Iowa, and sometimes it seems like to us it's sort of a shotgun approach. And we would like to have a statewide strategy, statewide program for targeting what funds we have. It should provide education and training to assist landowners, engineers, contractors, communities, and government agencies conducting river-related projects throughout Iowa. It should set criteria and priorities for stream restoration dollars. A lot of dollars are already being spent as part of the federal government's requirements for stream mitigation. And research and monitor projects to continually improve restoration tools and program effectiveness. River restoration benefits all Iowans. A river restoration process can bring stakeholders together to find common interests in rivers, landowners who want to protect their land from loss, farmers who want to reduce nutrients, paddlers, anglers, hunters, wildlife enthusiasts would all benefit. Local communities working on economic development, natural resource management professionals, agencies charged with road construction across or along rivers, and municipalities providing drinking water. So one of the things that we would like in our committee to consider is funding an appropriation to the Iowa DNR for staff to research and explore components of a river restoration plan. We suggest $300,000, but we do not have a budget. We realize it would take more consideration than just sticking a number in there, but we know that it would take a full-time coordinator. We'd probably take an assistant. It would take bringing in experts in science to develop it. It would take education. And so we think it's not going to be something that's really inexpensive. It's going to be something that's going to cost some money to provide Iowa with a complete plan. River restoration planning process could include research and survey information about river restoration through expert testimony, stakeholders and examples of applied best practices, convene an interagency task force that addresses agriculture, transportation, and natural resource needs. So we see Iowa DOT, IDOLS, and DNR as all important stakeholders in the river restoration program. Identify revenue sources appropriate for a successful river restoration program. Develop a plan that establishes statewide criteria and regional targeting, and identify meaningful and effective river restoration priorities and recommendations for a river restoration program and budget. The Iowa Lake Restoration Program has been highly successful, highly popular, and so in some ways we see the river restoration program as looking at the Lakes program as a model for making the best use of our tax money. So with that, I'm finished with my presentation. Again, I really appreciate you taking the time today to talk about rivers and learn about rivers. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer.
Thank you very much, Jerry.
Yep, all right.
I'm just waiting. Jerry, I want to thank you for your presentation, and thank you for the Iowa Rivers Revival organization for the work you do. I hosted one of your river rocks, and I plan on doing it again next fall. We did the Cedar River Rocks, and it was a great event. I think we had over 80 people, 40 canoes and kayaks going down the Cedar that doesn't get traveled that often, but it's a pretty interesting river. Nate was there, and we also talked about river safety and a little bit from our Blackhawk County, what's being planned. You know, one of the things that you are recommending is some infusion of resources into this, and I guess I wouldn't have a real problem with that. It seems like the Iowa DNR is kind of working down these paths anyway, and I did, in Larry's comments about the real need for expertise out there in planning, I think that those resources that you suggest could help our county across the state, or counties across the state, with that additional expertise to do that kind of thing. Let me ask you this about being a member of the River Revival. Do you guys actually, besides your awareness and your advocacy on Iowa rivers, do you have resources for grants or planning on at any time trying to raise enough resources to help with specific trail projects and river projects across the state? That's something you envision in the future?
Well, we would like to. We don't. Our budget won't allow us to really provide any grants to anyone else. In fact, we're looking for grants ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah. But it could happen in the future, and there are places that we're familiar with that might provide grant money for something like that.
Thank you.
Questions, comments?